All right, so the other day, Meet Kevin finally had a live Q&A for his new company, househack.com. If you don't know, that's a company he's starting. He's trying to get a bunch of people to invest in his company. They're going to be doing wedge deals where they buy undervalued homes, fix them up, rent them out for more money. He's trying to get a bunch of people to invest in this company. Did a Q&A the other day, and it was an unmitigated disaster. It was terrible, and it basically confirmed my suspicion that no one should be investing in this company. Now, this video, this QA that he did, was 45 minutes long, and I watched the entire thing. That's 45 minutes of my life I can never get back, and I'm going to help you so you don't have to watch the entire horrible experience. I actually time-stamped it. There's 5 different clips, short clips we're going to take a look at from this video, and I'm going to explain to you after watching the clips why I think no one should be investing in this company. I really do think this company is going to be a complete disaster. So let's take a look at the first clip that I have for this company.
To the House Hack Q&A live stream. To date, we have raised over $14 million in 9 days for House Hack.
Okay, so first thing to mention, he says they raised $14 million, so I already put that into the calculator for you. One thing he mentions later on in the video, you have to invest at least $25,000. That's the bare minimum you can invest, right? So $25,000 or $14 million divided by $25,000. Maximum is there's only 560 people actually invested in his company so far. So when you just say 14 million, it sounds really impressive, but the maximum amount of people is only 560. And if you take out the money that Kevin already invested, he already invested 5 million of his own money. And I would be willing to bet that a good majority of people who invested are probably whales that invested several $1,000,000 each. So in my opinion, there's probably only like 250 people that invested in his company, which is not a lot of people to invest in this company that he thinks is going to be worth like $100 million someday. But maximum, there's only 560 people that actually invested in his company.
First, what are the pros of investing in House Hack? Let's get right into it. First, you get to passively invest into real estate and diversify into real estate from stocks. In my opinion, I think this is a huge deal.
Okay, so to mention on that, he says you get to diversify into real estate, right? And that's very misleading because we'll go over later, he'll talk about this more in another clip. But basically, there is no chance you're going to see any return on your money for at least about 8 years, probably 10 years minimum. So 10 years, you're going to see zero return on your money. So you're not really investing on anything because this company could go bankrupt and there's a chance that you will never see any money on it. So you're not really investing into real estate. You're basically giving Kevin a loan to do whatever he wants for 10 years. And then hopefully someday you can see some money back on your actual investment.
When it comes to the cons, you do not have liquidity until hopefully when we IPO. And we have no idea when that'll be. That could be in 2028. It could be in 2032. I have no idea. You have to, at the moment.
All right, so what he just said, what he just confirmed is the number one reason why no one should be investing in this company. You have no liquidity in your money. You have to invest at least $25,000. You cannot get any of it back until they potentially, maybe, hopefully, can IPO, right? And he gives dates of maybe 2028 or maybe 2032. 2032 is 10 years from now, guys. So you have to give him a massive chunk of money and then you will see zero return. And he says this multiple times. You're not going to see any return, nothing until we IPO, if we ever IPO. And he says we could go bankrupt, we could never IPO. So you will see no return on your investment for 10 years. There are infinitely more and better possibilities for you to put your money in than this massive startup that is a massive gamble that could go completely to zero and you can never see any return on your money.
So until that point, you're investing in Kevin. So Kevin has control. Kevin has control over the board. Kevin has voting shares. You don't have voting shares. You have non-voting shares. So we want to make that crystal clear. All right.
Okay, so what he just said is that if you invest in his company, right, you have no control over what the company does. Now, in most publicly traded companies, again, this company isn't publicly traded at the moment, but they're hoping to IPO it someday. But in most publicly traded companies, if you buy stock in the company, you have voting rights. Now, most companies, there's millions or potentially billions of shares. So if you have like one share of, say, Disney, you have a very small actual voting percentage of the actual company, but you do have some voting rights in that company. Now, there are other companies, I think like Facebook, which has weird voting structures. I won't get into that. But most publicly traded companies, you have some voting rights. Kevin has said, It doesn't matter how much of the company you own, right? You could be a massive whale. You could buy 50% of his company, and you have zero right to anything that happens in this company. You can't say, Kevin, I don't want you to do this. Kevin, I think this is a bad idea. House Hack shouldn't do this. It does not matter. Kevin has complete control of this company. It doesn't matter if he owns 10% or 1%. He decides, him and his family, his wife and his father-in-law, I believe, they decide exactly what happens with House Hack, and you get zero say despite how much company you may actually invest in, how much of it you may actually own.
Oh yes, this is actually a very, very good question. So folks, this is probably my favorite part about this. You can invest via your Roth or retirement account. This is so cool. You can invest as a trust, as an individual, as an LLC, as a corporation, as a Roth, a retirement account, whatever you want.
Okay, this is the dumbest thing he says in the entire video. He's telling people to use their Roth IRA, right, to invest in his company. Now, throughout the video, I didn't show the whole video. You can watch it if you want. Throughout the video, he says multiple times that this company is a gamble. There's a possibility they could go completely bankrupt. If they go bankrupt, you'll never see your money again, right? If they don't IPO, you'll never see your money ever again. He's telling people to take their retirement money, because that's what Roth IRA, that's what the money that people put into that, that's for retirement, right? That is for people to live off of after they're no longer working. And Kevin is saying, guys, use your Roth IRA, invest in my company. Use your retirement money to spend in my incredibly risky startup that could go to zero and you could lose all your money. You should absolutely do that.
I can make you absolutely zero guarantee in terms of when you're going to get your money back. And if you even have to ask when you're going to get your money back, you should not consider this. It's just probably not for you. And I'm just trying to be honest, okay? Like, if you have to ask, when am I going to get my money back? Probably not for you. Or like, what's my rate of return going to be? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I have a goal. My goal is that we IPO in 2028. But, if we're in a massive depression in 2028 or we're at war with China, we're not going to IPO. I don't know. Anything can happen. So.
All right. So his goal is to IPO in 2028, which is what, 6 years from now? So you're going to see, like I said, you're going to see no return for 6 years. And then he says, we could go to zero. We could never IPO. We could be in a war. You're taking a massive risk. You invest in any company that's already publicly traded. They could go down, stock could go down, but they're already publicly traded. Their stock's not going to go to zero unless they go bankrupt. You could never see any return on your money. So like I said earlier, you are basically, what this entire company is, this entire grift that Kevin is doing, is he's trying to convince people to give him a massive loan of $15, $20, $50 million, however much he can raise. He's trying to get a massive loan of money so that he can buy up a bunch of properties and make himself incredibly rich, right? There is no guarantee that you will ever see return on your money, but there is a guarantee that Kevin's going to make a ton of money doing wedge deals with your money.
So let me explain, okay? There is a company that just raised $1 billion, and they're called Flow. I'm sorry, they didn't raise $1 billion. They were valued at over $1 billion, and they were valued at that with about a $330 million investment. Well, if you notice, that means people invested $2.85 to get $1. That's called dilution. You invest $2.85 and you get $1 value in the company. That's called being diluted. That's, if you don't understand dilution, probably not the time to be investing in private equity. We are raising money at $1 equals $1. So when people are like, cool, I want to invest, what's the valuation? It's whatever we raise. So if we raise $50 million, the valuation is 50 mil.
All right, so what he just said there is basically confirming that his company has no value outside of the money he can get from investors, right? So most companies, like the other company he mentioned, Flow or whatnot, they have actual assets. They have actual capital already invested in the company. They have already have employees, right? So they have some actual, valuation that they can go off of. Kevin, who he says multiple times in this video, he currently has no employees for this company. It's basically just him and his family currently working on House Hack. So this company, and they haven't bought any properties yet. They haven't done anything with this company so far. So what he's confirming, this company has a $0 valuation. This company has the evaluation of what people can give him, right? So if he raises $10 million, his company is worth $10 million because that's how much he raised. If he raises $50 million, it's worth $50 million. Outside of the money that he gets from investors, this company is worth $0, right? This is a massive grip, right? If Kevin, the only reason Kevin is able to do this is because he has a YouTube channel with 1.84 million subscribers, right? he is using his audience to basically, like I said, give him a massive loan so he can buy a bunch of properties. If he didn't have this massive audience, no one would ever invest in this. This is a zero revenue, zero valuation company that is purely run on how much money you can actually get invested in it. So there you go. Again, if you want to watch the full 45-minute video, I will have a link to it. It's pretty bad. And basically, you know, the entire thing, if you know what you're looking at, basically confirms that this is a company no one should get involved in. It's worth zero until people give him money. You have no voting rights in the company whatsoever. He says we're probably not going to IPO till 2032, and you know there's a chance we could go bankrupt. So I really don't know why anyone would get involved in this, but I'd love to hear your comments below. Is this something you want to get involved in? Do you like taking massive risk? If you do, probably don't invest in this. Probably just go to Vegas and throw all your money on the craps table.